Hello, everyone. Thank you all for bearing with me as I got this live stream started. My name is Bonnie Adderstrom. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the poetry event coordinator here at Brookline Booksmith. Today, it is my pleasure to host a celebration of the anthology Braving the Body, featuring readings from contributors Anna V.Q. Ross, Eileen Cleary, Nadia Colburn, Martha Collins, Fred Marchant, Jennifer Martelli, and Jennifer Militello for our Third Thursdays poetry series. Yeah! Before I hand it off to Anna to introduce our poets and tell us a bit about this amazing anthology, I have just a few housekeeping notes. Firstly, copies of the anthology are available for sale at the back counter over there. I know a few of you have already bought a book. I encourage you to support this amazing book in whatever way you can, whether that means buying a copy, saying nice things about these poets' wonderful work here at the event, following online, requesting it at your local library. Being in this room is another great way to support the anthology, so thank you for coming. Secondly, please keep your phones off or on silent, and thank you for being considerate of our readers. As I mentioned before, this event is being live streamed at this iPad right here. Hello, YouTube. Our audience members shouldn't be visible to our live stream viewers, but if you don't want to be live on YouTube, just don't walk directly in front of the iPad and you will be square. And finally, we will not have a Q&A at the end of the event tonight, which is normally part of our sort of run of show, but I do want to encourage you all to say hi to the poets after the event, get your book signed, ask them questions then, and just generally mingle, say hi to each other. Poetry community is a great way to meet people. This event, if you don't already know, is part of a monthly poetry series here at the store called Third Thursdays, which takes place on, you guessed it, the third Thursday of the month. Our November Third Thursdays poetry event is going to be listed on our website soon, so keep an eye out for that. We won't have one in December because the holiday season is a little chaotic here at the store, but we'll be back in 2025, so feel free to stop by then. And of course, all out of the way, I'd like to start by introducing Anna V.Q. Ross, who contributed to this anthology and helped organize this wonderful reading. Thank you, Anna. Anna V.Q. Ross is the author of 4 collections of poetry, most recently Flutter Kick, which won the Benjamin Saltman Poetry Award from Red Hen Press, the Julia Ward Howe Award in Poetry from the Boston Authors Club, and was named a 2023 Best New Poetry Book by the New York Public Library. Anna is the recipient of grants and fellowships from the Fulbright Foundation, the Massachusetts Cultural Council, Virginia Center for the Creative Arts, and elsewhere. She teaches at Tufts University and through the Emerson Prison Initiative, and she lives with her family in Dorchester, Mass., where she raises chickens. This is not Anna's first rodeo here at Brookline Booksmith, so it's lovely to have you back, as always. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing this lovely group of poets to our store, some of whom are also visiting us again, so thanks for coming back. And now I'll hand it off to Anna to tell you a bit about this anthology and these amazing poets.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you to Bonnie. As Bonnie said, it's not my first rodeo here at the Booksmith, but that is largely due to Third Thursdays and Bonnie's wonderful curation. I've lived in the Boston area for 20-ish years, and I always wanted to read at the Brookline Booksmith, and I was like, how do I get to do it? And then I met Bonnie, and now I'm here all the time. You're getting sick of me, I'm sure. But I'm really thrilled to be here in support of this wonderful anthology, Braving the Body, and I'm sort of standing in for its editors, Nicole Callahan, Pichenda Bao, and Jennifer Franklin. So I'll just say a little bit of how I understand this anthology to have come into being. It was conceived initially by Nicole Callahan, a fantastic poet who is now in Miami, was of New York City for many, many years. I know she's watching, so I want to make sure I get the details correct. And it came out of her experience battling breast cancer. And we are so happy, a survivor. But after going through that experience, she wanted to interrogate how we inhabit our bodies, how we are perceived in our bodies, how we perceive others. And so she brought together this incredible list of poets along with her fellow editors, Bachenda Bao and Jennifer Franklin, all of us sort of considering who we are in our bodies and how we live as bodies in the world. So I hope that gives you a sense. This is a very eclectic group of voices, and they sort of take on the question of bodies and embodiment, each in their own way, which is why it's wonderful to have so many contributors to the anthology here, because you can get a little bit of a sense of the diversity of perspectives and voices. So what I'm going to do now is just read all of our poets' bios as by way of introduction, and then I'm going to read my poem that's in the anthology, and then all of our contributors are going to get up in alphabetical order because that just seemed easiest, and read their own poem and a poem by someone else who is not here tonight. And then I'm going to finish by reading a final poem by another contributor. So without further ado, and the anthology is here at the Booksmith, so I hope that you will avail yourself of the opportunity to purchase a copy for yourself. So Eileen Cleary is our first reader and contributor here tonight. She is the author of The Wild Pack of the Living, 2 a.m. with Keats, Child Ward of the Commonwealth, which received an honorable mention for the Sheila Margaret Motten Book Award. She co-edited the anthology Voices Amidst the Virus, which was the featured text at the 2021 MSU Filmetry Festival. Cleary founded and still edits the Lily Poetry Review and Lily Poetry Review books, and curates the Lily Poetry Salon. And I know that I'm not alone in thinking whenever I read that, how does she sleep? It's a lot that she does here for poetry in the Boston area. She's a multi-postcard nominee, and her work is published widely in journals and anthologies, including this one. Our next reader will be Nadia Colburn. She's the author of I Say the Sky and the High Shelf. Her poetry has appeared in The New Yorker, American Poetry Review, Yale Review, and elsewhere. She's the founder of Align Your Story Writing School, which brings creative writing with mindfulness, embodied practices, and social and environmental engagement. See more at nadiacolburn.com, where she offers meditations and free resources for writers. And I'll just say, I have used those resources, and they're fantastic, so my personal plug. Martha Collins is the author of 11 books of poetry, most recently Casualty Reports, and Because What Else Could I Do? The latter won the Poetry Society of America's William Carlos Williams Award. Collins founded the UMass Boston Creative Writing Program and taught at Oberlin College for 10 years, and her website is marthacollins.com. Turning the page to the M's. We have a lot of C's and a lot of M's. Fred Marchant is the author of 5 books of poetry, the most recent of which is Said Not Said. He is the editor of Another World Instead, a selection of the early poems of William Stafford. He is also co-editor with Jennifer Barber and Jessica Greenbaum of Tree Lines, a collection of contemporary American poems related to the trees and forests in our lives. Marchant is Emeritus Professor of English and founding director of the Poetry Center at Suffolk University in Boston. Jennifer Martelli is the author of The Queen of Queens, winner of the Italian American Studies Association Book Award, and named a must-read by the Massachusetts Center for the Book, and My Tarantella, also a must-read and finalist for the Housatonic Book Award. Her work has appeared in Poetry, the Academy of American Poets Poem a Day, the Tahoma Literary Review, Folio, Jet Fuel Review, the Northwest Review, Tab, a journal of poetry, and elsewhere. Jennifer Martelli has twice received grants for poetry from the Massachusetts Cultural Council and is co-editor of Myrrh. Find her at jenmartelli.com. Jennifer Militello is the author of The Pact and the memoir Knockwood, which was the winner of the Zonk Nonfiction Prize from Zonk Books. Is that how you pronounce it? Oh, okay, the same. Okay. As well as 4 previous collections of poetry. Her work has appeared in Best American Poetry, American Poetry Review, The Nation, The New Republic, The Paris Review, and Tin House. She teaches in the MFA program at New England College. And I'm the last person. I thought there's one other reader, but it's me. Okay, so that's the end of the introductions. All right, so I'm gonna begin us with my contribution to the anthology, and I was just telling Jenny Barber that this is a poem that when I wrote it, I sort of immediately put it to the side and said, well, I'm never reading that or showing that to anyone ever. Like, that's, you know. And then Nicole put out a call for this anthology, and I submitted it sort of like with my eyes closed, and I put it at the very end of my submission, sort of thinking, oh, well, she'll choose something else first, and then, of course, she chose this one. And so now I've had to get used to reading it multiple times. So this is part of a series of poems, all of which have the same title. All my poems used to end in sky. All my poems used to end in sky, but now they end in sleep, not sex, which, like looking at the sky, can be a way of moving farther and farther away from yourself before you come back down. But sleep is a going in or back to what you aren't sure you remember or ever want to see again. When his older sister moved to her own room, our son refused to sleep in his, called it the room where nightmares happen. This, his first real loss, or the first he understood, last year's burial of the cat out back having mainly been an occasion for song and shoveling. But this lack of breath and sister scent drifting down from the upper bunk, unbearable. His whole life, he'd never had to go alone into the dark. And why do we do this to ourselves, when even lightning pairs its brief, ecstatic fling with thunder? The very nature of materiality is entanglement, says the physicist Karen Barad. But I was talking about sex, which, having been raised by Catholics, I know full well is something one must do but not discuss, and definitely not ask for. Even on the first hot day in June, when your husband comes in from the garden, smelling like the tomatoes he's just planted, and sweat and dirt and whatever primitive chemical you first scented years ago in a dim cinder block dorm room, and both kids are out of the house, and there is the kitchen table bare before you. Don't do it, my mother said when I was 12, and she just walked in from her job as a school nurse, having read the second positive pregnancy test from the second 13-year-old that week. End of conversation. Then, when I was 28, married, childless, and in grad school, she gave me silk sheets for Christmas. Just before she died, my granny confided that Granddad had been a demon in the sheets. I hope that made up for 22 years of pregnancies and 16 births, not all of them live. Barad tells us that the other is not just in one's skin, but in one's bones. And I know that even after birth, traces of the child remain within the mother, cellular echoes tinseled in the tissue. So when our son was afraid to be alone, we let him back into our parent bed nest, where cell by cell, he'd first learned how to sleep inside of me. But each night, after he drifted off, you carefully lifted him back to his own room, and then returned to me, so that we could not speak together for a little while before we took our separate ways to sleep. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How was everybody? I'm grateful to the editors and especially grateful to be reading tonight with all of you. And thank you, Anna and Bonnie. I'm going to read a poem called Flight of the White-Throated Sparrow. As tall as a table when my mother told me the dead someday return. I cast earth, fists, dirt full, one to the next, I feed the trees. Flap my hands, but do not fly. Any god may assume habits of a white-throated sparrow, and explain why. Miss maples, if they miss the bodies they drop, miss their quietudes. I carry their red deaths, entomb them in wax paper. After years apart, the state brings my brothers and sisters to visit. It's almost as if we're alive. And I'd like to read a poem by Leah Umansky called Reckoning. I tell myself, forgive. I need to forgive myself there and here. I need a reckoning to reckon with the interior pine, shrub, windbreak, heartbreak, the mother, tongue of this life, of this body, the mother, tongue of mothering. The mothering is a realization of grace, is a realization of the real and the unreal, and the reality that nothing is truly either. Nothing is more than the heart of the heart and the heart of the interior of the body. Thank you.
Well, I'll do my thanks quickly, but thank you all for being here. Thank you, Bonnie, Anna. I have a very short poem. And the title kind of goes into the first line of the poem. Outside the sparrows are awake, and all the complications in my heart. I, who did not know how to love my own body, who mistook the world for a task. Listen, one voice, and then another, amid the rustling of the leaves. And this is a poem by Zoe Ryder White. 11 Impossibilities. When the lit front edge of the boat comes by for the third or fourth time, I climb in, lay my once body down inside its once body. Rosy boat, curled and pale at the lip, not wood, petal, magnolicae, edible, faintly spicy, built to convey a thought from one end of hyperspace to the other. An impossibility. Hyperspace has ends. An impossibility. I fit in a pedal boat. An impossibility. I am currently unbodied. An impossibility. I wear a blooming tree around my shoulders for 2 weeks. The dark is emptied of its animals. There's nothing to touch. The tree remains undiminished. The stars are fixed. Bosuns take turns. The door stays shut. At the bottom of the boat, a porthole opens in and out at the same time. The universe door is under that, muscular, circular. We fit through it. It fits through us.
Thank you, Bonnie, Anna, and my fellow readers, and everyone for being here. I'm going to begin with a poem by Kathy Fagan. To my hands on their birthday. People will find any reason to shame you because they are ashamed of themselves. Therefore, I have resolved on this day, the anniversary of my birth, A dawn like any other in a Queens maternity hospital, night shift giving over to day, one nurse remarking on the vast circumference of my infant chest while mother wept over my crooked pinkies. I have resolved to celebrate these hands, which decoration could never enhance, nor notion online, nor lavishly expensive manicure make passively pretty. Especially now, with their ridges, divots, and crepe, so like the potatoes they held, the dirt and the money, the keys, ink, seeds, bottles, so much menstrual blood, come pussy tears. Useful they were, a comfort as they stroked with care and without, striking out or shaping, making, getting cut, burned, scraped, held. They were held, my hands. Hands that had always the look of hands holding out their ticket, neither next nor the one after next, but soon, the hands say, soon. When I ask how he's feeling, the old man in memory care says, it's like having one left hand and a second left hand. In both of them, then, he rests his face. And my own poem. Like her body, the world. Hit and hit and hit and hit and fallen. Getting up and trying to get up. Now one part is hitting another part, wounding its flesh, slicing its own veins, breaking its bones. But wait, we are coming. Help is on the way. Now we are hitting the part that is hitting the part. Now it is arm against arm, hand against hand. Now it is eye against eye, no one can see. Now it is ear against ear, there is no mouth. Where is the up to get up to? Where is the body? Where are the parts? Have the parts all fallen apart? We are part of the body, we forgot. We thought we lived outside like a brain in a jar. We thought we were pure like thought with nothing to lose. But we are losing too. We are losing parts. Besides, we were never that brain. We were only a part. We thought we would never fall, but we are falling. Falling and falling and falling, hitting the air. Falling, hitting ourselves, our own body. Meanwhile, the body, the world, will try to get up. Or else the body, the world, will lie down. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you all. Cheers to the editors who put this book together and how much work they gave to it. And one of the things that I wanted to say and been wanting to say, what an interesting title. I think it'll resonate differently for different people. For me, it has something to do with that old saw about old age being not for the faint of heart. That you know, braving the body means negotiating the betraying of the body, the way in which it does let you down in the long run. But then it occurs to me as I listen to these poems tonight, that it's really also about braving the body, giving the body credit for its courage. You know, it's wonderful. And thank you, Martha, for beginning with the other poem. I'm going to do the same. That I'm going to begin with Michael Lally's poem, I Meant To. And actually, there's a biographical dimension that needs to be said. It's in the back of the book. He's thoroughly and widely accomplished poet who has also been living with Parkinson's disease. Michael Lolly's I Meant To. I meant to put those 63 names and email addresses in the BCC blind copy space, not the CC copy space. I meant to send it to him, not her. I meant to swallow, not drool, on the computer, my lap, your sleeve, my arm, the floor, that first edition in the drawer. I meant to walk and move with that feline grace someone once said I had. Not wobble and stagger like an old wino. I meant to hit the Y, not the T. The H, not the G. The B, not the V. Return, not send. Amends, not amen. I meant to stand up, straight, not bend, to sit upright, not slouch, to not fall down and get stuck between the couch and a hot pipe that burned my back, like the prolonged sting of a fierce slap. I meant to stay 29 or 49, not be 79, turning 80 in May this way, drooling and stumbling and unable to make a fist with my right hand, or grasp a utensil in the proper way, but instead need foam additions to the handles from my 1 or 2 fingers that can still curl without help. I meant to be the exception to obviously aging or long gone legend by now, not a bent over drooling old man who still often feels like a woman inside. But I'll accept what I'm left with for as long as I can and still be grateful for all that I've been and am. And my poem is called The Burning Road. And it has a slight typographical device. After the title, there's a horizontal line just in print. And then at the end, it appears again. It comes out of nowhere again, but it's there. And I'll wave my arm. The Burning Road. The teacher draws a line on the blackboard and urges us to stare at it until our eyes begin to water and sting, until the line starts to waver, until we are not so sure it's only a line. The teacher says, the line is the world. Now, close your eyes and erase that line. The goal is to forget it ever existed. Tell us what you see in the darkness left behind. Speak without guile, says the teacher, or fear of rebuke. Thus I announce the world is burning. This that has come to me is neither dream nor delusion. I see tree-tall rushes on fire, both sides of the road, flame arms joining together high up, a flailing arch we have to pass under, a red-yellow darkness at the heart of it. This is birth, I first think. No, this is death. No, this is the day we met. No, this is how one of us will have to leave first. No, this is how the other will have to follow. No, this is the low-level war that cuts through everything. Yes, a messenger has come to tell us why we are here. Yes, and why we must pass through this. Yes, through that which consumes what it was made of. This? Yes.
Hi, everybody. thank you so much, Bonnie and Anna, for putting this together, and thank you to Jenny and Chenda and Nicole for including my poem in this beautiful anthology. I'm going to start with a poem by one of my dearest friends, and if you're out there, Sabaga, I love you. Sabaga Crystal Bacon. Say my oldest friend, George Bush the first was president when we met, so. Fat shame. Over breakfast, I read about Fat Eater, the latest Shark Tank discovery, a totally natural and organic pill that eats fat. The video shows a woman in beige underwear lifting her belly onto a tabletop. I know it's wrong. Later in town, from the bakery came a woman in stretchy clothes, round everywhere, carrying a cake. Fat Eater, I thought. My father's mother had a big, soft body with thin arms and legs. She was always heavy, is the word we used. So my mother warned, you'll end up as big as Mom. When I asked for seconds at table, she would say my name and puff out her cheeks. I got the message. All my life, I watched my weight, watched it increase, my mother would say. My partner from some years ago had a high round belly and received an anonymous letter describing a diet. It really works, someone had written. It was her birthday. I had bought a special cake. The letter hung in the air with candle smoke. On TV, there's a woman whose character has struggled with weight since childhood, emotional eating, body image, and so on. How to see her life as a fight when, as I watch her in my loose sweats, she moves like a body of water, her beauty not diminished by her girth. Watching her, I try to shed the shame fed to me since birth. In my poem, the title bleeds into the poem. By August, they're already hanging witch dolls from the eaves and the ledges of the homes in Salem and from the windows of shops where I buy local goods, waxy combs, balms, and a small owl candle with a long wick. A dragonfly leads me past a hedgerow of autumn olives. August yields her sun low, lower, lower each day. I curve into the fall, lick the parts that hurt most, my wounded willow bark, my animal skin. Last night in a dream, I cradled a corncob doll to me, urged it to nurse the nothing that's left, became less sad, less a conduit. Can I deconstruct an asexual life and call this home? Can I not allow touch in still love? Come morning, I pondered the exclusion of queen bees in the fall. My hair was a willow nest of cold blue eggs, and I could smell the wine from the small apples that fell, rotten and bruised, to the ground below my window. All night, I'd simmered on low, shimmery citrus rinds, a tea I could drink, a balm boiled down. Come, morning, take the inch of light, orbit wider, farther away. My back arcs into place. Out back, tomatoes choke, thick on their vines. At last, the pepper plants have turned deep purple. Fall curves here, a pelted thing, amber. You have to see it, the light. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you to Anna and Bonnie for organizing, and thank you just to this really incredible space. Every time I come here, it just feels like a cathedral of books to me, and I'm really grateful for it. This is a book filled with pain and with celebration, and I'm really grateful to be part of it. This is Odaxalagnia.
When I sink my teeth into you, there is a taste, a satisfaction, the start of a match, the catch in your throat. We are rich with the exhilarations of our blood. We are rich with our print-blackened roots, like the crowns of my teeth in you cracked like dirt, enamel fragile and eggshell veined. I sink my teeth and they knit your history a coat. I shut the cold like a tap and lean like a trunk, and we unravel as though thread, and when we fall, the quiet is like a feather, like a bough. It was a god I held in the trap of my mouth, in you my rabbit gone limp, my bite at your neck. And me tasting fur like wind, and me tasting the scent of you melted as wax. A wicklet. It was my path. It was a desire to solidify and start at the front, at the back, in the lip, at its cry. No dry soul unsickened, yet I sink my teeth, I notch your depth. I prove it has terror. An Atlantic I've wept. And I'd also like to share Snakeskin by Ren Wilding, excuse me. Snakeskin. I have a particular slither in my chest coiling me awake. My lungs will not open. I sit against the bathroom wall, tiles slicked, with shower steam hissing through me a signal. As a child in the grocery store with my mother, people stare. How could such a rattle come out of that small throat? I'm trying to give myself a warning that my body will be haunted by what it sheds. Thank you.
That went really fast. I wanted to add an addendum to Jennifer Militello's bio that I meant to say earlier, and that is that since the publication of this book, she has been named the Poet Laureate of New Hampshire. I'm going to finish our reading with a poem by a poet who sadly is no longer with us. She passed in the interim between when this book was in production and when it came out. Her name is Karen Friedland. And she did actually get to participate in a couple of the early Zoom readings. So there is a recording of her reading this poem, which is titled, It Recurred. It recurred. Yes, this cancer is doing its damnedest to kill me, and it will, eventually. This is guaranteed. But right now, my scrappy, hardy body prevails, spills words onto pages, accepts hugs from neighbors, makes savory dinners, appreciates fall crickets. I am living a somehow sweeter life here on the precipice, with a gut full of growing tumors, on the knife edge of hope and terror. At this tender moment, my death is merely theoretical, and life is all I'll ever know. Thank you all.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What a gorgeous poem to end the reading on. Thank you all to our audience. It's really wonderful to have this room full of faces. Thank you for being here to celebrate this anthology and these poets' incredible work. And of course, thank you to the 7 of you for being here, for sharing your work with us, for creating this community that has filled this room tonight. It means everything. Let's give them one more round of applause. And now, boring housekeeping stuff. Well, actually, not boring. If you want to buy a copy of the book, it is available for sale at the back counter over there. We've got a nice little tall table if you want to get your book signed by any of the poets. Feel free to mingle, ask questions, say hi. This is a community space. So thanks for being here, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night.
Jenny.